Welcome to episode 5 of Building a Workshop. Let's get right into it. So all of the trusses came in, and the first thing that we do is we pull 2 of the trusses out, and these are going to be our gable end trusses. It makes it a lot easier if we sheath it while it's still on the ground before we lift it up. So we'll go ahead and we'll nail the sheets directly to this truss, and then it's much easier to come back with a circular saw than trying to cut the pieces before you put it on the truss. Now for the sheathing, we're just using 7/16 OSB. We really wished that we could use zip system, but at the time it was just so expensive.
So this evening we're putting together the fly rafter on the gable truss. We've sheathed it, and now we're putting the fly rafter on. And what I do, a little different than a lot of people, and again, you guys may have a better idea than this, and if you do, let me know. But I go ahead and cut my pieces. I compute, the 2x4 on the end so that our overhang is going to be exactly 15 inches. But in between, I go ahead and put another board, nail this down, and then nail the actual fly rafter to it. I see some people do it, but most people don't. It just gives it a lot more strength to allow that overhang for your fly rafter with where the overhang is going to be, so it doesn't droop over time. Anyway, that's just the way I do it. If you guys have a better way, please let me know.
And we are just attaching the fly rafter to the gable end truss.
Under the palm trees in the California sun, sand underneath our feet, the morning's just begun.
And just like that, our gable end truss is done. Now we just got to figure out how to put it in place. Since we already had a track loader, we decided to buy an attachment for this build, and that was just a truss boom. And the truss boom worked great for moving around the trusses and the gable ends. However, it really didn't do too good of a job when trying to put the trusses and the gable ends up on the building. Now, if we were building a pole barn, that would be a different story. So again, it could easily lift the trusses, but the problem came when we tried to put the trusses on top of the building and scoot them all the way to the back. Our plan was to raise them up there with the truss boom on the track loader, and then drag them all the way to the back and start from the back and work our way to the front. But it really didn't work that way, and whenever we tried to drag it, we were putting a lot of tension on the trusses. Once we realized the truss boom on the track loader wasn't going to cut it, we knew what we had to do, and that was to get a massive crane. Now, this crane easily picked up that gable end truss, and it set it right in place. And all we had to do was just put a few boards to brace it, screw it in, and then throw some nails onto it, and we were good to keep on going. And you can just see how massive this crane is. Truss spacers. Now this saved us a ton of time. We bought a pack of 24-inch on center truss spacers from Simpson Strong Tie, and again, we just put it on there, smack a few nails into it, and the trusses were spaced accordingly. Another thing we did was we laid off 24 inches on center. So with the truss spacers and us laying it out on the top plate, it made it super easy and super fast. Now what was really cool was the crane operator was so good, he was able to unhook the trusses by himself without any of our help. Here you can see our gable end truss being raised up by the crane, and we did put a few scrap pieces of 2x4s on this end wall, just so when we place the truss up there, it wouldn't fall forward. Of course, the OSB is really going to tie it all together, but this is just some temporary support. Now, it was a little bit nerve-wracking seeing such a large gable end dangling by a cable above your heads, but when you realize that these crane operators do this for a living, day in and day out, they really know what they're doing, and it was pretty safe. And that will conclude putting all the trusses on the workshop. Thank you guys so much for watching this quick video, and we will see you in the next one.